Okay, just stop. Stop. Roxy, look, pretend that you're a movie star. A movie star rocks. You're wrecking the hat. Come on. Stop. Stop it now. Or I'll put it right over your face. Stop. 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 Okay, look at that. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Maybe you're not thinking that at all. If you're having health issues, you live alone, or you're not going to be able to see your family this Christmas, this must be a really difficult time of year for you. Me, I'm in a wheelchair. I have MS. I have not been very well lately, and I have cancer, but I still love Christmas. If you're finding that it's just too difficult to get involved in the whole Christmas festivities, impossible for you to go out to the store, you're homebound, you have a sick spouse, you have a dog that wants to play ball. Right now. Sorry you can't see her, but she's just driving me crazy. Oh, I'm gonna throw it. There she goes. Anyway, welcome, because I'm gonna talk to you about how Christmas is for me, and maybe give you a couple ideas that will work for you. Hi, I'm Denise, and welcome to Travels in My Chair. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm so glad you're joining us. And if you're one of my lovely people that follows me every couple of weeks, hi guys, it's the season. So as I've said, Christmas is a time of year that for some people is joy, peace, family time, love, beautiful lights, Christmas cheer, the whole shebang. Now, of course, when COVID came along, things changed a bit. I think we had our first COVID Christmas out on the front porch, hot chocolate and baking. Everybody quickly opened their presents and headed home. It was a cold, rainy day. And we finally are now having family back in the house, so that's good. But there are problems. For those of you who follow me, you know I'm having bum problems. It's healing a little bit, but oh boy, pain, and today has decided to act up yet again. Also, cancer. It's made me very, very tired. I have very little energy. I would rather sleep and watch YouTube videos than probably do anything, if I'm being perfectly honest. And of course I have a little dog that keeps bringing me her ball, and I'm trying to teach her to bring it to me so I don't have to reach and hurt myself. So let's just say, for sake of argument, that you live alone, or that you're not going to be seeing your family or too many people this year. Excuse me a moment, I need to throw a ball. Bring it here. Bring it here. Note ball. She'll play with it. I sometimes think she's got Labrador in her, honestly. Okay, go get it. And then she'll sneak up on it like she's like a cat. Like right now, that's what she's doing, but I can't move the camera fast enough to show her. Anyway, sorry for that little reprieve. You're feeling isolated. Maybe you're dealing with mobility issues or chronic illness. The last thing that you probably even want to think about is Christmas. And how the hell do you decorate anyway? So what we did when we moved out of our big house into our little 1,000-square-foot house, I got rid of everything Christmassy that I didn't love. And the only things I kept were the things that I absolutely loved. And that's why I will show you pictures of my tree, and I'll show you pictures of my Santas and my poor sad village this year, because the kids are getting older and they want to help decorate, which is great because on the tree I don't have all my decorations all on the bottom anymore. They're spread out throughout the whole tree. That's why I want to show you that. But the village is a whole other story. It looks like a tsunami went through and wiped it out. So I kind of want to do a little bit of re on the village when I have time. This is my Christmas village. Not lit up yet because it's daytime. The kids take all the horses and the people and rearrange them so you can see that the trees are falling down. And there's a house that looks like it's going to topple over. And then tomorrow they'll come and rearrange it all again. So it won't be perfect, but it's my Christmas. The other thing we have started to do is, a couple of years ago, my daughter and I started to make wreaths, and I do 3, and we do what we call a cheetah wreath. And a cheetah wreath is basically going to your local hobby store, hardware store, whatever, and buying one of those wire wreaths. And they have 2 sets of wires in them, and they have the twisty, phony greens. Cheaper the better. And then you get greens. Every area is different. On the West Coast, we have fir, cedar, spruce, salal, variegated cedar, and another lovely plant I'm going to show you a picture of later that just absolutely makes my wreaths sing. And I don't use ribbons or anything, but you know, you could go to the hardware store or the dollar store and buy, you know, red bells or something if you want to sparkle it up a little bit. The wreaths, you do 16 bundles of, so here's an example. A little bit of variegated cedar, some green cedar, a little bit of pine, my famous bush, tied together with green twine, really tight, 16 of those to make a wreath. And then you take the bundle and then you lay it in the wreath form, and then you twist the wire phony greens in the wreath form to hold the wreath in place. Doesn't take long to make. I think Angela can whip one up in about a half an hour, but she does go out and cut all the greens for me. And we cut them to, you know, wreath length. Wreath making day. Annual event. We have a cup of tea. And all the wonderful greens. Just like last year. And those are them in a pile, all waiting to be put up on the wreath. Okay, this plant is called a cherished mountain fire. So P-I-E-R-I-S J mountain fire. If you want a plant that'll be absolutely amazing in your wreaths, look at this one. Sorry, I had to pause for a phone call. I'm getting some stuff made for Christmas. I don't go shopping, I have to tell you. It's just way too difficult. Also, the fact with the drugs I'm on for the cancer, my white and red blood cell count is really low, and I'm super susceptible to anything, germs, abrasions. If there's illness around, man, I'll get it if you just even look at me crooked. So I've had to do a lot of shopping online, and that makes me sad because I want to honor our small businesses in our community who have worked so hard to stay open through COVID and have done an amazing job. Here's one thing, first thing I want to tell you about. One of our local ladies' stores, she gives a lot of her money to the food bank. She is so community minded that even though I didn't need clothes last year because I didn't go anywhere, I just had to go shop at her store because I wanted to honor her because she's staying open. And she said to me, she says, you know, Denise, it's hard for you to get around the store because, you know, it gets crowded and all. If you want to get a couple of girlfriends together, give me a phone call and I'll meet you down here at night and open the store for you guys. And you can shop just with you and your friends. Now, isn't that a nice idea when you're in a wheelchair, don't want to handle crowds? I mean, last time I went and tried on clothes in her store, I couldn't fit in her changing room, so my girlfriends just surrounded me and I just whipped off the tops. Once you've had a mastectomy, girls, it doesn't matter anymore. You want to see my sad old body, go for it, I don't care. So that is one idea you might want to think about, depending where you live, if you live in a small community or something like that. The other thing I'm going to show you, and my friend had wanted me to put little snippets of the movies and the books that I read into this video, but YouTube copyright is so strict. If they're not happy with what you do, they'll just take down your whole channel. And I've worked too hard to get my 760 subscribers. Thank you, I got 3 back. Yay, guys, thank you. Anyway, so you're either going to have to put up with me humming, or you're going to have to just picture the picture. So I'm showing you the covers of my favorite movies that I have on DVD. Another one at Christmas that's my favorite is Love Actually, and sometimes Netflix puts it on at Christmas and other times it decides not to. Same with the holiday. I love Love Actually, and I like to watch it every couple of years. I like the music, it's fun. Christmas Eve, I've also learned this year, because I've been in a lot of pain the last couple of months. You know, if you're living at home or you've got no one around you, just the thought of Christmas cheer might just make you so sad. So here's my other tip for overwhelming sadness, okay? It happened to me first in '95 when I was diagnosed with MS. And I'd see people walking on the beach, people going on wonderful trips, people taking hikes, people running, and I couldn't do any of it, and I would just cry. It was so sad. And I couldn't get over it. Like I'd say to myself, come on, put on your big girl pants, you can do it. Have a pep talk with myself. But guess what? The pep talk went nowhere because I was in the throes of sadness. On those days, and I still have them, not very often, thank goodness, where you just feel like it's hopeless, that life is not going to get any better. I harken back to 1995, and I remember going to the video store. Do you remember when we had video stores? And I rented, I don't know, a stack of videos. Everything that was either no violence or people overcoming diversity to be stronger. Brought them home, laid down on the couch with my favorite quilt, had a cup of tea beside me and a box of Kleenex because I was very prepared to cry. Out of Africa, of course, being my absolute most favorite movie. When it comes on, as soon as the opening credits come, I just go into tears. I can't help it. Anyway, that's what I did for a whole weekend. I ate, I don't know, sandwiches probably. Alan just kept popping in the movies, and I sobbed my eyes out for 2 whole days. And at the end of 2 days, because you can't force that sadness out of yourself, you can't just make it go away, will it to go away. It has to go through its own course and then go. And at the end of 2 days, I woke up and I was good. I was good to go. And that's what I do when I'm feeling really sorry for myself. I will put on Netflix right now, Barbra Streisand has a show that I think she made sometime in the later 2000s called Memories. All her favorite music and Songs from the Stars Born, one of my favorite movies. She says, if you want to know what we were wearing when we were doing that photo shoot, the answer is musk. I love Barbra Streisand. I love her voice, and I love that show. So now we got Christmas happening. I started doing my watercolor Christmas cards, which I do every year. And if you go to the end of this video, I'll put up a little Christmas playlist that I did last year when I made my world famous, in my mind, carrot steamed pudding based on a recipe of my father's. It's a tradition. I love it. And it'll show you how to do wreaths and make watercolor cards. And hey, those cards can be as simple or as complicated as you want. They come from you. You put a letter in there or a handwritten note, they become something special to the people that you send them to, that you may not be able to see this year. Boney M. First time I heard Boney M, oh gosh, it has to be in the 70s. Sorry, bum sore. My dad was listening to the Canadian Broadcasting, CBC, and they were playing this album, and he just loved it, and right away he ordered it, and it's been our go-to family favorite ever since. We decorate the tree playing Boney M, and Angela, my daughter Angela's favorite song is Feliz Navidad. and we jump around. Well, I jump around like this, right? Because I can't jump around with my leg. Kids don't care. They don't care. They're used to me in the wheelchair. They don't see me any other way. So it works. So Boney M and the Sarah McLachlan are two favorite Christmas albums. I will show you a copy of all those vintage movies that I like to watch for one reason. I haul them out every couple of years and they're beautiful. But here's what I was thinking this year, because usually in the past, before COVID, I would have my annual all-girl Christmas dinner, of which there'd be sometimes 13 of us. Everybody would bring a dish. We'd talk about our year. Everybody would have a turn around the table. We would drink copious amounts of wine, have lots of laughs, and sometimes some tears, because it was, and always will be when you're dealing with your girlfriends, a safe place. A safe place where you know that whatever gets talked about in that space, it doesn't go any further. So you can talk about anything. And oh my gosh, we have, in the past, it would make your toes curl. Well, now I'm not doing that because it's a lot of work in preparation. It would take me a whole day to iron tablecloths that I got from my mother-in-law. They all need to be ironed and they're beautiful, and I use them once a year and they have to be perfect. I can't do it on my own. I can't bend down and I can't reach up high. This is my level. So if it's not there, it ain't getting done. Audrey Hepburn. If you want vintage movie watching, you can't beat the girl. And surprisingly, Breakfast at Tiffany's is not my favorite. This one, Two for the Road, is. It's kind of a bit sad, but it shows a lot of the south of France, and I just love it. My all-time number one, without a doubt, movie of all times is Out of Africa with Robert Redford and Meryl Streep. The cinematography is absolutely incredible. The acting is wonderful. As soon as the music starts, the beginning, I start to cry. And in fact, that is going to be the music that I use for my funeral when I die. I know it sounds a bit morbid, doesn't it? Now this one might be a hard one to find. You might be able to get it at the library. It's called Summertime with the beautiful, wonderful actress Katharine Hepburn. She is a spinster school teacher who goes to Venice for the summer. And you know, it's happy, sad, discovering herself. Well done, well worth watching. Probably not one of her better known movies. Let's say you live in an apartment building or a gated community, and maybe you got a couple of friends that are feeling lonely. Why not, if you are lucky enough to have a DVD player, have movie night once a month if you've got some old movies. Or some of those movies can either still be purchased through Amazon or eBay, or even borrowed from the library. Guys, really. And have movie night. Popcorn and something to drink. Have a bit of gossip. Have some time with your friends. If you have friends that don't like driving at night now that it's dark and it's a little freaky if you're living alone, getting home to a cold, dark house, then have it during the day. What the hell are you doing anyway? You might as well do it. So that's one idea. The other idea is to have a few friends over either during the day or early evening or whatever. And I don't mean doing a big meal, because if you're not feeling good and you're in a wheelchair, you don't need the aggravation. So have them over for tea and baking. And hey, if you have to buy the baking, buy the baking. Who the heck cares? And have a few friends over. And I mean a few, okay, because there's a lot of virus and COVID going around again. So maybe have 4. It helps you appreciate your friends. It helps them appreciate you. You've had to put out the effort, because let's face it, guys, if you're like me, you're being a little bit slack in the phoning people department. And you're sitting here whining, going, nobody loves me, nobody comes to see me, oh my God. But you know, I haven't really made much of an effort. I tell you, some of the most fun times I have are with my girlfriends, just remembering. Some of us, we've got to go back 40 years and we'll remember some stupid things that we did way back when we were 30. And they were stupid. Example, the very first year we decided to make Christmas wreaths. Now that was in the days before our friend introduced us to cheetah wreaths. So we would get a wire frame, stuff it with moss, wrap it with tape, and then poke holes in it, and then have to go get the greens. Well, there happened to be a few places that had great greens in our town. One, the town hall had a wonderful pine tree, and another house had a glorious holly tree. So my daring friend and I got in the car. This is back in the 80s. You have to remember, I was young and I could run then. And we waited till it was dark, and in our town things usually shut down by 8. So we drove and we had our secateurs, and she'd pull the car over and I'd jump out, or I'd pull the car over and she'd jump out and cut some holly off this holly tree, and then we'd go down to the town hall and she'd cut some off the tree. Anyway, to make a long story short, the next day we were driving by the town hall, and the both of us, we just stopped and just started howling. That poor pine tree had one huge big bare spot where we had butchered it, and that bare spot faced the road. We couldn't even go to the back of the tree where nobody would even watch it. And every time I drove by it, I'd have to feel guilt. Well, it's now all filled in and it's all good, but you know, that was pretty bad. Decorating. Like I said, if you've got someone, a friendly neighbor, a friend, or even if you have to buy stuff from the florist, it's okay. Shove stuff in vases and put it around your house. It'll make you happy. You may not have the energy to put up a tree. I think my mom and dad near the end of their lives had one of those little, ceramic light up trees. And they used to laugh about it and say, oh, we have to go get the tree out of the garage. Oh gosh, it's going to be such a big job. And it was just this little tiny thing. And my husband's mother had one of those too. You may just want to shut down Christmas altogether. It's okay. Watch some movies and have a sandwich. But if you're out and about, if you're able to be out and about, you're mobile. My girlfriend went to Costco and bought a stuffed turkey breast. It fed 6 of us. It was wonderful. All she did was throw it in the oven for an hour or something. Christmas doesn't have to be complicated, I guess is what I'm saying. Because at your stage in your life, you're older, you have health issues, you have no one to help you. You just can't do it like you could when you were 30, okay? I mean, I used to go all out. I remember putting cedar boughs, stapling them all over the side of my old house. I can't do anything like that anymore. Best thing my husband bought me last year was a remote, because I was sick of nagging at him. Put on the Christmas lights on the tree, and he'd mumble and because he's kind of a bah humbug kind of guy. Anyway, he bought me a remote. Now I can turn on my Christmas tree lights with the touch of a button. And then the outside lights, which he and my son will put up eventually when they feel like it, that goes on a timer. So I don't have to nag anybody. Sometimes you can just close your eyes and remember the Christmases past, the times that you had, the things that make you happy. And you can go back to those memories. And something sometimes just will trigger something. And it doesn't make it a sad thought. It makes it, I don't know, reminiscing, I'm going to give you an example, so bear with me, okay? We're going to go way back in time to the mid-80s. I was with a friend, and we were going through a mall in Vancouver. And they were just opening up the kiosk where, they sell lottery tickets and stuff. And she put up a sign, and it said, one night only, limited seating at the Orpheum Theatre, Andrew Lloyd Webber. And we stopped, and Louise said, let's go check it out. So we did. Andrew Lloyd Webber, my mother's all-time favorite. The Orpheum Theatre is a beautiful, beautiful landmark in Vancouver, and it had just gone through a total restoration. And the acoustics were improved, the gilded gold in the ceilings, the seats were all redone. It was an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, elegant masterpiece. Very similar, if I think about it, to Her Majesty's Theatre in London. So we bought tickets for me, Louise, and my mom. And when I told my mom we were going, it was exciting. Okay, I lie. Beyond exciting. She hadn't been out for so long because my dad's been so sick. That night, was a special event for the Friends of the Orpheum Theatre who had contributed to money-wise to the Philharmonic Orchestra and to the restoration of the theater, and they had gone to a big formal dinner and presentation. And so they were all dressed in evening gowns and furs, and you know, we were just dressed. But we had good seats, really, and we had a good view of the stage. And it was all music from Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical, you know, like Jesus Christ Superstar and so forth. It was amazing, and the show was wonderful. Then there was a short intermission, and after the intermission, I know you're wondering, where the hell is she going with this? Bear with me. The announcer comes out and he says, I have a special treat for you tonight. All the way from London. He's here for 2 days. Mr. Andrew. Now, he may have been a sir already. So let's say he was a sir. Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber is with us. And he came out and he said what an honor it was for him to be here at the opening of the theater, how much he loved the city, you know, the usual stuff. And then he said, now guys, hold your breath for this. He said, I've come because you are the first people publicly, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity with the reopening of the theater to introduce you to my new musical, which will be coming out in the spring, and it will be at Her Majesty's Theatre in London, and I hope you can all come and see it. I think we're going to have a hit on our hands. Well, why wouldn't they? Everything he's ever done has been a hit. Said the name of the show is Phantom of the Opera. Okay, I'm not going to cry. Nobody had heard of it. They'd been, I guess, in rehearsals. And the star of the show was Michael Crawford and Andrew Lloyd Webber's wife. I think they were either just married or whatever, Sarah Brightman. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard music from Phantom of the Opera or you've heard Sarah Brightman sing. She has got an amazing voice. She can reach such a high register, like a high C. She came out, and of course in the 80s she was just young, probably in her 20s. She had creamy, creamy white skin. I'll never forget that. And long, shiny black hair. She had on a beautiful gown, and she sang her signature song from Phantom of the Opera. Oh my God. My mom and Louise and I, we were holding our hands. We were sobbing, as was half the audience, I have to tell you. Philharmonic Orchestra was playing beautifully. Everybody stood up at the end of the song, cheered, and went on, and she did an encore. Smiled, her beautiful smile, and very humbly left. And Andrew Lloyd Webber said, I told you, and I hope that you could all come and see us. And then he left. It was the most wonderful night of my life, almost. So now we're going to fast forward to 1998. Our friends were going on a canal boat trip to England with another couple, and at the last minute that couple had to drop out for health reasons. So we were offered to replace them. Well, that meant a whole bunch of stuff for us because I was just diagnosed with MS. I was having difficulty walking with a cane. We didn't have the money, but it was an opportunity before I wouldn't be able to travel, and so we jumped on it. And after we'd been on the canal boat for 2 weeks, we had a week to spare, and I said to Alan, I would really, really love to see Phantom of the Opera. It would be a dream come true. He said, okay, I guess. I don't care, but you know. I phoned the ticket office, and the gentleman, you know, very English. I said, yes, is it possible to get tickets for Andrew Lloyd Webber? And he kind of laughed. He said, do you mean for Phantom of the Opera? I said, yes. Oh my goodness, they are sold out for a year. I said, oh. Well, we're here from Canada and we're just here for a few more days. I really want to see the Phantom of the Opera. He said, just give me a moment, madam. I have 3 seats for tomorrow. I said, are they good seats? He goes, madam, they are seats. Do you want them or not? I said, I'll take 2. Well, the poor lady that bought the 3rd seat had a pole right in front of her and couldn't see a darn thing throughout the whole show. But anyway, that's another story. We get to the theater, which was glorious, and this man came out from behind a glass booth, and he was in gray tails, and he was very officious looking, and he wanted to see our ticket. Or no, we got our tickets there, I think. And he saw me in the wheelchair and he said, "Are you looking forward to the show?" I said, "Oh, you have no idea how many years I've waited to see this. I'm beside myself. I can't wait." He said, and he squatted down beside my chair, which a lot of times a man will do to be at your eye level. "We want to make this the best night of your life. I guarantee you this show will be perfect for you. You will love it. You will love it. Now let me take you to a special entrance." And he went to a secret door and he took us in the theater. Now nobody was in the theater yet. All the patrons were still out in the lobby, and we went into this empty theater, and all I saw was the gold and the red velvet and this magnificent chandelier hanging from the middle of the ceiling. I went, "Oh my God." I felt like I was a queen. I gotta tell you, it was the most special you could ever imagine. So everybody filled into the theater, and the orchestra starts to play, and then the opening scene, and they're at like a party or an event or something on stage, and all of a sudden the chandelier comes whooshing down from the ceiling, and I'm talking huge, crashing onto the stage. I think half of us screamed, half of us gasped. Seen anything like it. It just, my heart started thumping. The music started playing, you know, that organ music from Phantom of the Opera. Oh my God. Now, Sarah Brightman and Michael Crawford were not the stars that night. I know that. The stars were fabulous. I've seen other theatrical productions because I love musical theater, but that was by far the singular most incredible production I've ever seen. And the other night there was just a little snippet on a YouTube show, and it showed Michael Crawford and Sarah Brightman, and that's what triggered this memory. And so that's what I'm telling you about memories, and they're not bad memories. Oh my gosh, they're good memories. I just can just sit and cry thinking about that night. I remember Alan and I walking out of that theater, and it was an amazing night for us. Sometimes a string of lights hooked up to a battery, that might be all you can accomplish. Other times you want to bring out your Christmas dishes. I am more vulnerable this year. I'm going to admit that. I'm in a lot of pain, which we're working on, and I'll talk to you in another video all about that. I know that some of you are going to be lonely, and I know that some of you will be overwhelmed by the amount of family that will come to you. And you may have to be organized and be able to delegate to people. For example, our home support people will hire cleaning people to come and clean your house. I said, the problem is Dad doesn't want a cleaner coming in the house because you end up having to clean the house before the cleaner comes. You guys can probably relate. And she says, Mom, I'll do it. I said, honey, you got 3 little kids. You're busy. There's no way. And she said, Mom, I'll do it. I said, okay, but I'm going to pay you the going rate, okay? Because I know that you're saving up to go to Scotland next year. So she comes every 2 weeks and cleans my house. Now, for those of you who can clean, it's still a thankless job. It just gets dirty again in a minute. But for those of you who can't clean, there's nothing better than having a clean house. To crank up your Christmas music, might put you in the mood. Watch a couple of cheesy Hallmark movies if you have to. Sometimes cheesy Christmas shows are just what you need to watch. You know, they're mindless. After they're done, you can just forget them. They don't make a statement or anything like that. If you can manage to cook a Christmas dinner, only do what you can do. You don't have to put on a big show for anybody. You don't have to do any of that anymore. You know, there was a competition when we were younger between the girlfriends of who was going to put on the best spread. Not important anymore. What's important is spending time with people that you love. When people ask me, what do you want for Christmas, Mom? I don't want anything because I want time. That is the most important gift. To me, is time. Time for me to enjoy the remainder of my life. Time to spend with my family and my friends. That's what I want. I don't need another whatever. I don't need anything, but I do need time. And I do need people around me in little bits, you know. I'm no good in crowds anymore. And I've given up a couple of things that I would have gone to just because I just refuse to put myself in a position where I might get sick. It's just the choice I'm making right now. I don't have any fight in me. I'm at home and I get lonely, and I know you get lonely too. especially if it starts snowing out and you don't want to get out there and fall and break a hip. You just have to make the most of what you've got. And if you can't do it, don't do it. Don't force yourself to do something that you can't do, and don't be afraid to ask. I mean, even if you do a cookie exchange with some friends in your complex, or have tea and baking one day. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat as you. If you live in an apartment building, I think my mother did this in her building. Got a lot of widows and stuff living in her building. She put up a note on the mailbox in the lobby. Yeah, we're going to have an open house on New Year's Day. Come and have a drink. And that's how she met, and my father was still alive then, all the neighbors, which they wouldn't have met otherwise in an apartment, right? You can do that. Text some people, send some people some notices, just a few. Even if only you can manage making a pot of tea and a pot of coffee and throwing out some digestive biscuits. So the heck what? If your friends are going to judge you for that, you don't need them in your life. And if they're new people that you're going to meet, you don't want to put on airs for them and be something you're not. Be yourself. You got to do what you can do. I know I'm sounding preachy here, and I'm sorry, but I have too many friends that I know what they're going through. There's illnesses and stuff. Not everyone has an Alan, and he's even getting fed up. I've done what I can do. Alan's mom had to go into a nursing home. She did not want to. She wanted to stay in her house. It was impossible. There was no one to care for her. And she was not a happy camper. She had lost a bunch of weight. She was having cognitive problems. Everybody figured she had dementia. We were all worried about her. She was getting on. You know, she was 89, I think. Alan made her butter tarts. Now, her little unit was assisted living, so she had a little kitchenette, a bed, a little table, a couple of chairs, and her own bath. Alan's making these tarts, and he's putting them in this huge container. But how many tarts are you making? He goes, I think there's 72 in here. I said, oh my God, Alan, what's your poor mother going to do with all of those? Don't you worry, he says. So he packs them all up, and he phones her, and he says, Mom, I'm sending you some butter tarts. He sends her these tarts, comes to the door of the home. They go, whoa, and they bring this box like it's, you know, crown jewels to Alan's mom. Look, Pearl, you got this gift. And she opens them up, and they're, you know, he sent them express post, so that I think they were 2 days old. You know, they're probably still warm. I don't know. Anyway, butter tarts. She said, my son makes the best butter tarts in the world. And the nurse, one of the nurses comes by the door and goes, really? Yes, come and have one. Oh, they are so good. So from then on, the butter tarts went in the fridge. The word spread around to all the nursing staff, and she started getting people dropping into her suite. Now remember, she was lonely living in her house, and here she is in the nursing home with Alan's butter tarts and some tea, and a nurse would be coming in and down on their break, and she'd say, oh, hi, dear, come in, put on the kettle, and you know where the tarts are. I'm so happy to have them. Your tarts are the best, Pearl. And they'd sit with her for 20 minutes. Her door, she wouldn't let them close the door to her suite. It was always open. And she loved wrestling, and she used to have wrestling on. And the men would walk by, and they'd go, because the wrestling was on the sports channel, and so it was just on a loop, sports, right? And the men would go by, and they'd go, what are you watching, Pearl? She'd go, oh, I'm watching baseball, Joe. Oh, who's that? And she'd tell him. And she had the nerve to tell me that she'd been watching baseball her whole life. Lie. No, she only ever watched wrestling. But she'd have people in. She was having visitors, and guess what? She gained 10 pounds. She didn't have dementia. Her brain was as sharp as anything, because she was remembering all those baseball scores. She could reel them off like nothing. Give them a tart, give them a tea. Nurses, the physical assistants that, you know, would help her with her legs. Everybody would drop by. They would tell her their secrets, because Pearl doesn't gossip. Didn't. She's dead now, but. And Alan, who'd have ever known? That man is amazing, you know. Was the perfect thing. She didn't need another jogging suit. What she needed was an excuse to have people in her house. And maybe that's all you need, is an excuse to have people in your house, to watch a favorite movie, to have a cup of tea, whatever. You can do it. It's just going to make it that you have to put a little bit of effort out. And Christmas, remember, can be exactly how you need it to be for you. I'm going to do another video, before Christmas. I've got stuff I need to share with you. There's more medical stuff. But I'm not going to do it this time because, And thank you so much for watching. You know I love you. Thank you to my new subscribers, you new 3 subscribers. Welcome to our little group. Comment if you wish. Please, please try your best to make this Christmas season work for you. Okay? Love you. See you next time. Bye-bye.